I never thought slicing open my own wrist with a kitchen knife would feel like the only honest thing I'd done in years. Not deep enough to die, just enough to watch the blood pool on the marble countertop of Grandma's kitchen. The one she'd remodeled with her lottery winnings back in '09, and realized that the real cut had come from the people who'd raised me. It was the night after the funeral, when the will reading was supposed to be a formality, a tearful division of her estate among the loving grandchildren. Instead, it was the spark that ignited everything. And as the paramedics stitched me up in the ER, ignoring my slurred denials that it was an accident, I swore on the scar it'd leave that I'd make them pay, not with more blood, but with the slow, exquisite unraveling of their perfect little lies. That hook dragged me under fast. The second one, when I hacked into my brother Ethan's phone and found the group chat titled Family First, No Drama Queens. There I was, Arya the black sheep, erased from the digital inner circle, while they plotted to gaslight the lawyer into believing I'd been estranged for years. Messages from Mom, Dad, Ethan, and even Aunt Lydia, Grandma's favorite, spelling it out. Arya's too unstable. We can't risk her blowing the inheritance on therapy or whatever cult she's into this month. Unstable? That was the word they used for the panic attacks I'd hidden since high school. The ones that started after I took the fall for Ethan's DUI at 16. Letting him walk free while I got community service and a juvie record that haunted every job interview since. The third hook hit like a freight train through the fog of morphine they pumped into me. I remembered the safe. Grandma's antique oak safe in the attic. The one she said held family treasures, and how she'd made me promise, on her deathbed 2 weeks prior, to protect the truth. Arya. It's heavier than gold. I'd dismissed it as dementia talking. But now, staring at the ceiling tiles in that sterile hospital room, it clicked. The will wasn't just about money. It was about the secret she'd buried deeper than her regrets, the one I'd carried like a millstone since I was a kid. The car accident that killed my uncle, her son, and how the family had pinned the blame on a ghost to keep their hands clean. And me? I'd been the kid in the back seat, too young to fight back, but old enough to be molded into their scapegoat. It started unraveling from there. That humid August in suburban Detroit, where the air always smelled like wet asphalt and unspoken resentments. Grandma's house on Elmwood Drive was the kind of McMansion that screamed, "We made it," for bedrooms. A 3-car garage stuffed with her vintage Cadillacs, and a backyard pool where family barbecues masked the knife fights over politics and inheritances. I was 28. Crashing there rent-free after my latest gig as a freelance graphic designer tanked. Blame the economy. Or blame the way my resume screamed, troubled youth, thanks to that sealed juvie file. Mom and Dad lived 10 miles away in their split-level ranch. The one Dad bought with honest HVAC money, though we all knew half of it came from Grandma's loans that never got repaid. Ethan, my golden boy brother, 31, and climbing the ladder at Ford, with his perfect wife, Becca, and their 2 designer kids, rounded out the nuclear unit. Aunt Lydia, the wild card, jetted in from her condo in Boca Raton, all spray tan and Chanel, pretending she wasn't the family historian who airbrushed our skeletons for holiday cards. The funeral was a circus. Black dresses and hypocrisy under the stained glass of St. Mary's Catholic Church in Grosse Pointe, where Grandma had tithed enough to get a pew named after her. Father O'Malley droned about eternal forgiveness, but I could feel the side eyes from Mom, who whispered to Dad about my inappropriate tattoo peeking from my sleeve, a phoenix rising from ashes, inked after my first suicide attempt at 22. Ethan clapped me on the back too hard, his cologne choking me like judgment. "Hang in there, sis." We'll get through this. Becca smiled that step-forward smile, her hand on his arm like a leash. Lydia air-kissed everyone, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light like a noose. The will reading was set for the next afternoon at Grandma's lawyer's office downtown, a sleek high-rise overlooking the Detroit River, where the water looked oily under the summer sun. I showed up early, nursing a black coffee from the lobby Starbucks, my hands shaking not from caffeine, but from the dream I'd had the night before, Grandma's face, withered and wise, mouthing the safe over and over. The family trickled in, Mom in pearls, Dad fidgeting with his tie, Ethan scrolling his phone, Becca cooing at the kids on iPads. Lydia last, dramatic as ever, with a veiled hat like she was auditioning for a noir film. Mr. Hargrove, the lawyer, was a silver fox in pinstripes, all Southern drawl despite being born in Troy. He cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, and began. Eleanor Thompson left a substantial estate, the house, vehicles, investments totaling $2.3 million, and various personal effects. Murmurs rippled, greed dressed as grief. Then the bombshell, to her granddaughter Arya Thompson. I leave the bulk of my liquid assets, $1.8 million, along with the family home, on the condition that she use it to right the wrongs of the past. The remainder is divided equally among my other heirs. The room froze. Mom's pearls clicked like teeth. Dad's face went the color of uncooked dough. Ethan's phone slipped from his hand, clattering on the mahogany table. Lydia's veil fluttered as she sucked in a breath. Becca just blinked, like a glitch in the Matrix.
Me?
I sat there, heart hammering, because right the wrongs echoed Grandma's deathbed whisper. Hargrove slid an envelope across to me, sealed. Her spidery handwriting. For Arya alone. Back at the house that night. The vulture circled. We gathered in the living room, the one with the crystal chandelier Grandma imported from Italy, casting fractured light like broken promises. Mom poured scotch, top shelf. The Macallan she'd borrowed from the liquor cabinet years ago. This has to be a mistake, she said, voice syrupy with denial. Eleanor was always so. Fair. Dad nodded, muttering about estate taxes and contesting the will. Ethan paced, his loafers sinking into the Persian rug. Arya, what did you do? Whisper sweet nothings in her ear while we were at work. I laughed, a jagged sound that cut the tension like glass. Me? I changed her bedpans and listened to her stories while you all zoomed in from your air-conditioned offices. Maybe that's the difference. Becca shot me a look, pity mixed with venom, while the kids colored obliviously on the floor. Lydia, ever the diplomat, lit a cigarette despite the no-smoking sign, blowing smoke rings toward the ceiling. Darlings, let's not bicker. But Arya,
Dear.
That condition. Right the wrongs? What wrongs? We've all moved on from. You know, the accident. The accident. There it was. The ghost in the room. 22 years ago. On a rain-slicked I-75 outside Flint. Uncle Tommy, Grandma's golden son, my dad's brother, wrapped his Chevy Tahoe around a guardrail. Dead at 35. Leaving behind a wife, Lydia, pre-divorce, and a toddler, me. Technically his niece, but raised like a daughter after the crash. Official story, black ice, driver's error. But I remembered the screams, the dashboard lights flickering like strobes, and Tommy's slurred "it's okay, kiddo" before impact. What they never said, the flask in the glove box, the one Dad had filled that morning to take the edge off his own benders. Tommy was sober, Dad wasn't. And when the cops came,
It was me.
8 years old, they coached to say Uncle Tommy was driving funny, sealing the narrative that kept Dad's license intact and the insurance payout flowing to Grandma. I'd carried that lie like a tumor, swallowing the therapy bills and the nightmares so the family could sleep sound.
Now.
Here they were, rewriting history again. I excused myself to the kitchen for water. But really, it was to breathe. That's when I saw my phone buzzing on the counter, a text from an unknown number. Check the group chat. You deserve to know. Attached was a screenshot. The family first thread. Time-stamped yesterday. Mom. Hargrove's a pushover. We say Arya's been violent. Show those old psych evals. Dad. Agreed. Ethan's got the text from her episodes. Ethan. This stays between us. No leaks. Lydia. For the good of the family.
She's not ready.
My knees buckled. The knife block gleamed under the halogens. Westhoff. German steel. A gift from Grandma for my 21st. I pulled the paring knife. Small and sharp. And before I could think, dragged it across my wrist. Not to end it. To feel something real. The blood welled, crimson and accusatory, dripping onto the quartz that Grandma had chosen because it hid stains. That's when Ethan burst in, phone in hand, probably tracking my location like he always did for safety. Arya, what the? The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and recriminations. Mom sobbing in the waiting room. Dad pacing like a caged bull. She's always been dramatic. Becca herding the kids away from the crazy aunt. Lydia on her phone. No doubt spinning the tale for her country club cronies. Ethan sat beside my gurney. Eyes red-rimmed. Whispering.
Why?
Sis, we were just protecting you. Protecting me? From what? The truth. Discharged at dawn with a bandage and a script for Zoloft. I drove back to the house alone. They'd all decamped to a hotel, giving me space. Bullshit. I headed straight for the attic. The air thick with dust motes and mothballs. Grandma's safe squatted in the corner. A Victorian beast with a combination lock she'd taught me as a kid. August 15th, 78. The date of the accident. It creaked open, revealing stacks of legal papers, a pearl necklace, and a manila envelope marked "The Truth, for Arya only." Inside, police reports, blood alcohol logs, Tommy's .00, but a partial print on the flask matching Dad's, and a notarized affidavit from Grandma, dated last year. My son Thomas was innocent. My husband Grandpa, long dead, and I covered for Daniel Dad to spare the family scandal. Arya, you were too young to refuse their story. Use this to heal, or to burn it all down. The choice is yours. Forgive them, or free yourself. Burn it down. The words echoed as I pocketed the envelope and descended the stairs, the house feeling like a tomb. My phone pinged, another anonymous text, they're meeting at the Hilton bar tonight. To fix the will. Sender. Blocked. But the area code was Ethan's. A plant? Or a crack in the facade? That night, I didn't go to the bar. I went home, to my parents' ranch in Warren. The one with the welcome family mat that now felt like a trapdoor. Let myself in with the spare key under the gnome. The one I'd used as a teen to sneak smokes. Their bedroom was upstairs, safe as a confessional. Dad's laptop hummed on the nightstand. Password, Thompson forever. Pathetic. Folders upon folders. Estate planning, Arya Watch, a subfile called Inson Files. Photos from the crash site, twisted metal. My tiny face streaked with blood in the ambulance. Therapy notes I'd never seen, forged by Mom to help my college apps.
Painting me as borderline.
And emails to Hargrove, time-stamped post-funeral. From Dad, new evidence of Arya's instability. We request a review. CC'd to the whole chat. Rage boiled. Clean and clarifying. I didn't smash the screen. I plugged in my thumb drive, cloned the lot.
Then,
On a whim, I opened Ethan's messages synced to the cloud. There, the group chat in full. Months of vitriol. Lydia, remember when she accused Tommy of, you know, kids' imagination. Becca, Ethan, if she gets the house, what about our kids' college? Mom, we did this for her once. Time to let her sink. Sink. That's when the plan crystallized, not a scream. Not a lawsuit, but a scalpel. Precision revenge. American style. Leak by leak. Lie by lie. Until their empire of facades crumbled under its own weight. First leak. Anonymous email to Hargrove. Attaching the Flask report. For the record, I signed it. Justice delayed. By morning, my inbox, burner account, lit up. Replies from the family's panic. Who is this? Extortion. I smiled, bandaged wrist throbbing like a heartbeat. This was just the appetizer. The fallout hit like a Michigan winter. Hargrove called an emergency meeting neutral ground, his office again, but this time with a notary and a stenographer. I arrived last, feigning fragility in an oversized sweater hiding the bandage. The family was a powder keg. Dad beet red. Mom's eyes puffy from crying or Klonopin. Ethan chain-smoking outside like Dad in '03. Becca typing furiously on her phone. Lydia nursing a flask in her Coach bag. Hargrove laid it out flat. New evidence suggests irregularities in the 2002 accident report. Until verified, the will stands as is. Contesting it now could trigger an audit, full disclosure, including any discrepancies in prior statements. Dad exploded first. This is bullshit. Some hackers framing us. Mom clutched her rosary, whispering Hail Marys. Ethan rounded on me, voice low and lethal. You did this, didn't you? Snooping like the paranoid little. Paranoid. I cut in, voice steady as the river outside. Like when you hid my meds so I'd toughen up? Or when Mom told the school I was acting out after I asked about the crash? The room went tomb silent. Becca's typing stopped. Lydia's flask clinked. Lydia, ever the chameleon, flipped first. Daniel, she hissed at Dad, you swore you destroyed those reports. Eleanor knew. Dad deflated, mumbling about protecting the family. Protecting. The word again. A mantra for cowards. I dropped the bomb, slid printouts of the chat across the table. Read it. All of you. While you plot to institutionalize me, Grandma was planning to set me free. Gasps. Denials. Then the finger-pointing melee. Mom accusing Lydia of leaking. Ethan blaming Becca's big mouth. Dad storming out with a slammed door that rattled the windows. In the chaos, Ethan cornered me in the hall. Sis, whatever you think you know. It wasn't like that. Tommy was drunk. Dad covered for all of us.
Lie.
But his eyes, pleading, fractured, almost made me pause. Almost. Save it for the deposition, I said, walking away. But as I hit the elevator, my phone buzzed, a voice memo from the anonymous sender. Ethan's voice. Arya? If you're hearing this,
I'm sorry.
I forwarded the chat to you. Don't trust Lydia. She's playing both sides. For the kids. Please stop. Doubt crept in. A sliver. Was he the leak? Or bait? The next week was a siege. Reporters sniffed blood. Local news pickup on Thompson family feud over late matriarch's millions. The Detroit Free Press ran a teaser. Crash cover-up clouds inheritance battle? Dad lawyered up. A shark from Bloomfield Hills, named Kessler, who subpoenaed my psych records. Mom called daily. Voice cracking. Come home. Baby. We can fix this. Therapy. Whatever you need. Translation. Sign over the will. Play nice. I ignored them. Holing up in Grandma's house. The attic my war room. Scan the affidavit. Redacted names. Sent to an investigative blogger in Ann Arbor, Trina Voss, who'd exposed the Flint water crisis. Off the record first, I emailed. But if they push, go public. Lydia showed up unannounced on a Tuesday. Rain sheeting the driveway like tears. She looked smaller without the veil. Lines etched deeper around her mouth. Arya. Let's talk. Woman to woman. We sat on the sun porch. The one overlooking the pool where I'd learned to swim. Her cigarette smoke curling like confessions. Your dad. He was broken after Tommy. The flask was his. Yes. But I knew. We all did. Eleanor too. She forgave. But the guilt ate her. Why tell me now? I asked, handing her coffee black. No sugar. The way she liked. Because you're just like her, stubborn. Seeing ghosts. That will. It's not freedom. It's a curse. Burn the papers. Walk away with the money. Start over in California, like I did after the divorce. Her eyes flicked to my wrist, the bandage peeking. Before you finish what you started. Tempting. The beach. Anonymity. A life without Thompsons. But then she added, Ethan's the one pushing hardest now. Afraid you'll expose him too. He was in the car that night. Remember? Passed out in the back with you.
Twist.
Ethan. The golden boy. Blackout drunk at 14? The memory flooded. His snores. My hand in his. Tommy yelling, wake up, before the skid. Another layer peeled. I played along. What do you get out of this? Aunt Lyd. She smiled, bitter as quinine. My cut.
And peace.
We're poison.
Kid.
All of us. She left with a hug that lingered too long. Her perfume, J'adore, clinging like regret. That night, I tailed her to the Hilton. The same bar from the leak.
She met Kessler.
Dad's lawyer. In a corner booth. Heads bent over documents. Photos on my phone. Time-stamped. Incriminating. Lydia wasn't flipping to me. She was double-dipping. Selling intel to both sides for a bigger slice. The leak? Not Ethan. Her. Testing loyalties. Stirring the pot. Cunning bitch. Revenge escalated. I dropped the photos to Trina. Lydia's the mole. The blog post hit Friday. Heiress intrigue. Aunt's double-dealing and Thompson will war? Shares exploded. Twitter threads debating family versus fortune. Reddit r/true crimes speculating on the crash. Ethan called. Frantic. Arya? Stop. Becca's threatening divorce. The kids are getting bullied at school. Guilt gnawed. But I shoved it down. You started this chat.
Bro.
Own it. Mom's next. A voicemail. Slurred.
Please.
Dad's drinking again. Like before. The accidents echo. I met her at our old diner in Royal Oak. The one with the Naugahyde booths and endless fries. She looked shrunken. Pearls askew. Arya. Honey. The will's tearing us apart. Sign it over. We'll split fair. Therapy for all of us. Family counseling. Counseling. I laughed.
Bitter.
Like when you gaslit me into believing I caused the crash. You distracted him. Baby. Don't tell anyone. I was 8. Tears tracked her rouge. I was scared. Protecting you from the shame. Shame's a hell of a drug.
Mom.
Addictive. I slid a USB across. Clone psych files. The forgeries. Fix yourself first. She clutched it like a lifeline. But her eyes hardened. You'll regret this. Blood's thicker. Not anymore. The climax brewed over Labor Day weekend. The family forcing a summit at Grandma's, neutral ground.
They said.
I agreed. Wiring the house first. Nanny cams in the living room. Audio bugs in the kitchen. Paranoia? Or preparation? They arrived en masse. Dad with Kessler. Mom medicated. Ethan and Becca with the kids in tow, little Emma and Jack. Oblivious cherubs with Ethan's eyes. Lydia last, poised as a cobra. We circled the dining table. Crystal glasses clinking like sabers. Hargrove mediated via Zoom. The audit looming like Damocles. Dad opened. Arya? Enough. Drop the leaks. We dropped the contest. Equal shares. Lydia nodded. For the children. Ethan, sis. Think of Emma and Jack. This hate. It's poisoning everyone. Becca, you're destroying lives. Mom, silent. Eyes pleading.
Me?
I stood. Envelope in hand. Grandma's affidavit. Unredacted. Equal shares? After you planned to commit me? After the crash cover-up that turned me into your fall guy. I read aloud. The blood logs. The lies. Grandma's words like acid. Tommy was innocent. You all knew. Chaos erupted. Dad lunged for the papers, Kessler restraining him. Mom wailed. Ethan shoved back his chair. Face ashen. I was a kid. We were all messed up. Becca herded the kids upstairs. But Emma paused. Wide-eyed. Aunt Arya. Why's Daddy yelling? Lydia flipped again. Slammed her glass down. You idiots. I told you to settle. Now the press will eat us alive. To me. Give me the originals. I'll bury them for a price. The polarization hit peak. Dad roaring about betrayal. Ethan begging for mercy. Mom crumbling. Becca hissing at Lydia like a rival queen.
Me in the eye.
The Avenger turned judge. No heroes here, just survivors clawing for scraps. That's when the twist detonated. My phone rang, Trina Voss. Live on speaker. Arya? Breaking. I just got a tip. The anonymous leaker? It's Ethan. He confessed, said he did it to force a reckoning. But wait. He attached proof Lydia paid him to start the chat. To manipulate the will from the jump. Silence. Then explosion. Ethan bolted up. No. She lied. I forwarded to save you. Lydia bolted for the door. But Dad blocked her. Veins bulging. You bitch. Using my son. Becca turned on Ethan. You what? Our family for her? Mom fainted. Chair toppling. The kid screamed from upstairs. In the melee, I slipped away to the attic. Safe open. Pearls in hand. The reckoning? Not destruction, but revelation. I burn the affidavit, not to hide, but to release. Tommy's ghost. Grandma's guilt. Our chains ash now. Downstairs. Cops arrived, called by Becca. Hysterical. Not for violence, but for the fraud Kessler exposed. Lydia arrested for tampering. Dad confessed on the spot. Slurring through sobs. I drove. I killed him. Forgive me.
Ethan?
He took the plea, accessory as a minor. Records sealed again. But Becca filed. Custody battle looming. Mom entered rehab. Dad community service. Lydia? Facing perjury charges in Florida.
Me?
I kept the house. Sold the cars. Donated half the cash to MAD, victims of drunk driving. The other half? Therapy. A fresh start in Portland. Rain like Detroit, but without the rot. Was it justice? Or just another layer of hurt? Readers, judges will debate. Did I avenge? Or avenge too far? Ethan's last text. Proud of you.
Sis.
Even if it broke us. Happy ending? Tragic? In America, where family is both fortress and prison. It's whatever you make it. But the scar on my wrist? It fades. The real ones don't. The ashes from the affidavit still smoldered in the backyard fire pit when the real storm hit, not the kind with thunder, but the slow grind of legal gears turning against the Thompsons. Portland was a pipe dream for now. I was stuck in Detroit, the city of ruins and reinvention, where abandoned factories loomed like monuments to bad decisions. Grandma's house felt less like a home and more like a bunker. Windows taped with aluminum foil to block prying eyes from the drone-happy neighbors. Trina Voss had gone viral. Her podcast episode, Inheritance of Lies, racked up 1 million downloads in a week, painting me as the whistleblower heroine, the family as a soap opera of secrets. Comments flooded. Team Arya, fuck the enablers, versus she's as toxic as they are, revenge porn for the bourgeoisie. I ignored it, focusing on the practical. The audit Hargrove ordered unearthed more skeletons. Dad's loans from Grandma? Embezzlement light. $200,000 funneled to cover Ethan's gambling debts from his Wayne State days. Lydia's Boca condo? Half-funded by a gift that smelled like kickbacks from Dad's shady HVAC side hustles, bribing inspectors for subpar installs in low-income projects. Even Mom had a finger in, forging Grandma's signature on a reverse mortgage to pay for her Xanax habit. The will's condition, right the wrongs, wasn't just poetic, it was a trapdoor Grandma had rigged, forcing the truth into the light. Kessler, Dad's lawyer, tried a Hail Mary, a civil suit claiming undue influence on me by Grandma. Emotional manipulation, he argued in filings, citing my history of mental fragility. I countersued for defamation, attaching the chat logs as exhibits. The discovery phase was a bloodbath, depositions where Ethan crumbled on the stand, admitting he might have exaggerated my episodes to keep peace. Becca testified via video from her sisters in Ann Arbor. Voice cracking, he never told me about the car. Or the chat. I thought we were solid. The judge, a no-nonsense black woman from the East Side named Rivera, banged her gavel. This isn't reality TV.
Folks.
Stick to facts or I'll sanction the lot of you. Through it all, the anonymous text kept coming, not from Ethan, but a new burner. Watch your back. Lydia's out on bail. Talking to feds. Paranoia amped. I installed a Ring camera at the door. Slept with a baseball bat by the bed, the Louisville Slugger Grandma gave me for Little League. Inscribed swing for the fences. Kid. Nights blurred into marathons of true crime docs and case law PDFs. My freelance gig sidelined for this unpaid internship in Vendetta. Ethan showed up first, uninvited, on a crisp October Saturday. The leaves on Elmwood were turning that fiery rust red, like the city itself ablaze with unspoken fires. He looked wrecked, unshaven, in a Ford Polo stained with what smelled like bourbon. "Can I come in?"
Just to talk.
Against my better judgment, I did. We sat in the kitchen, the same counter where the blood had dried to a faint pink shadow, despite my scrubbing. "Arya."
The plea.
"It's manslaughter."
Suspended if I testify against Dad.
"But Becca's taking the kids to her folks in Traverse City." "Says I'm a liar by blood." His voice broke, hands trembling around a mug of Folgers. I leaked the chat because, after the funeral, I saw the safe open. "Grandma's note to you. I knew you'd fight, but I thought it'd force them to come clean. Not this." I leaned against the sink, arms crossed. "Thought, or hoped, you built the chat."
Ethan.
"No drama queens. That was me, right?"
He winced. "Yeah."
"But Lydia. She paid me $5,000 last spring to monitor you. Said it was for Grandma's sake. To keep you from spiraling. I used it for poker, stupid. When I saw her twisting it for the will, I snapped. Forwarded it to you from a burner app. The flip again, Ethan. Victim or villain. I wanted to believe him. That brotherly bond from backyard forts and shared bikes. But trust was a luxury I'd bankrupted. Prove it. Bank records.
Now.
He pulled out his phone. Airdropped the statements. Venmo from Meld, Boca Queen to ET Ford fan, $5K. Memo, family duty. She's the puppet master.
Sis.
Always has been. After Tommy, she married him for the insurance, then divorced for the settlement. Now this. I nodded, filing it away. And Dad, drunk that night. Tommy took the wheel to stop him leaving. Flask was Dad's roadie. I passed out on NyQuil, Mom's idea. To calm my nerves about the family trip. He laughed.
Hollow.
We were all complicit. Kids raising kids. Sympathy flickered. But I quashed it.
Go.
Get your house in order. But if you flip again, I won't. He hugged me at the door. Quick and desperate. Love you.
Arya.
Even if you hate me. Hate? It was more like pity. The kind that sticks in your throat. Lydia's move came next. Sly as a fox in a henhouse. A certified letter arrived Monday. Settlement offer, $500K to drop all claims. Sign and forget. Attached, a non-disclosure. Ironclad as Fort Knox. I shredded it. But not before snapping pics for Trina. Her response, gold. She's desperate. Feds are sniffing her taxes. That night, the doorbell rang at 11 p.m. I checked the ring. Lydia. Drenched from a downpour. No makeup. Hair plastered like a drowned Ophelia. Let me in.
Arya.
Please. They're coming for me. Against every instinct. I did. She collapsed on the couch, shivering. Kessler flipped. Gave the feds my emails, the bribes, the forgeries. Tommy's insurance? I skimmed half for therapy. They want wire fraud. Sobs racked her. Chanel blouse transparent. I did it for us. After the crash, Daniel was useless, booze and bills. I kept the family afloat. Afloat? I scoffed, tossing her a towel. By pimping secrets? Paying my brother to spy. She looked up, Eyes feral. Ethan's weak. Like Tommy. You're fire. Eleanor saw it. Why she chose you. But this path?
It'll consume you.
Sign the NDA. Take the money. I'll testify. Full truth on Dad. We end it together. The offer hung. Controversial as sin. Ally with the snake to gut the wolf? Her hand on mine, cold. Pleading almost swayed me. Why should I trust you? Because I'm you in 20 years. Bitter. Broke. Alone. She pulled a flash drive from her bra. Everything. Emails. Accounts. The real crash video from Tommy's dashcam. Dad behind the wheel.
Clear as day.
I plugged it in. Watched. The Tahoe hydroplaning. Dad's panicked shit. Tommy wrenching the steering. I've got it. Then impact. My 8-year-old scream. Ethan's snore. Undeniable. Twist within twist. Lydia wasn't just surviving, she was curating the narrative, positioning herself as the redeemed aunt. Upload it, she urged. But redact me. Hero's exit. I hesitated. The dash cam could destroy Dad. Exonerate Tommy. Free me. But with her strings attached? Get out. I'll decide. She left at dawn. A ghost in the mist. The video burned on my drive. A loaded gun. Dad's confrontation was raw. Inevitable. He showed unannounced midweek. Sober for once. AA chip glinting on his keychain. The living room smelled of rain and regret as he sank into Grandma's armchair. The one with the Afghan she'd knitted. Arya girl. Can we
talk?
Manned to mistake. I perched on the ottoman. Bat within reach. Mistake. Nice word for murder. He flinched. Manslaughter. Intense everything. I was 26. Scared shitless, new dad. New house. Tommy, egging me on with the flask. One sip. Bro, then the road. I froze. Tears tracked his stubble. Covered it to protect you kids. Mom, Grandma insisted. No jail for my boys.
Protect.
I echoed. You let me carry it. The whispers. The shrinks. Trauma response, they called my questions. You called it lies. Guilt twisted his face. I was weak. Still am. But this suit, Kessler's bleeding me dry. House is in foreclosure. Your mother's.
Gone.
Packed last night. To her sisters in Florida. Mom gone? The hit landed low. Lydia? He nodded. That viper. Promised to mediate, then sold us out. Ethan's wrecked. Becca's lawyering up for full custody. He leaned forward. Voice cracking. Drop it.
Kid. For me.
I'll confess. Full statement to the DA. No contest. You keep the will. Just. Let us breathe. The plea hung. Polarizing. Forgive the monster who made you, or slay him and inherit the void. His hand, calloused from wrenches, reached for mine. I love you. Arya. Always did. Wrong way, but real. I pulled back. Love's not a get-out-of-jail card. Dad.
But.
The video. Watch it. I played the dash cam. His color drained. Mouth agape at his own frozen panic. Tommy's heroic swerve. Jesus. He saved us. Sobs shook him. Raw as an open wound. I'm sorry. For all of it. He left broken. but lighter. That night, I uploaded the video to Trina, redacted. Anonymous source. The truth drives on. By morning, it was everywhere. CNN tickers, X threads exploding, cover-up crumbles, new dashcam shocks Thompson clan. The family fractured further. Ethan texted, saw the vid. Dad called. Full confession. Thanks, sis. Oh, you. Becca filed, anyway, but with a note. For the kids' sake. Let's mediate. Mom's sister called. She's drying out. Asks about you. Lydia? Radio silence. Then a news alert. Heiress arrested in Miami. Embezzlement ring busted. Her empire.
Poof. Me?
The scar itched less. Portland called, a job offer from a design firm. Remote start. But as I packed Grandma's pearls into a velvet pouch, doubt lingered. Had I righted wrongs? Or just traded one betrayal for another? The chats echo. Family first.
Whose family?
Mine now, singular. Scarred. But standing. November swept in like a cold front off Lake St.
Claire?
Stripping the trees bare and laying the city's sins exposed. Grandma's house echoed with emptiness now, the pool cover taut over winter's grave. The attic safe bolted shut like a resolved chapter. But resolution? That was for novels, not Thompson's. The dash cam video had detonated the powder keg, but the shrapnel was still flying, embedding in flesh and futures. Trina's podcast follow-up, Blood on the Asphalt, charted the fallout, interviewing sources close to the family, me. Voice modulated. Listeners picked sides, justice for Tommy trending with prayers for the innocent driver, while Thompson Toxic spawned memes of me as the vengeful harpy. Photoshopped with devil horns over a pitchfork labeled Will. Dad's confession landed him in county, 6 months. Probation after. With mandatory AA and restitution to Mad. He wrote from lockup, yellow legal pad. Handwriting shaky as his resolve. Arya. The cell's small, but the regret's smaller now. Told the truth to a priest, absolution tastes like freedom. Sell the ranch if you want, it's yours by right. Love. Pop. I didn't sell. Not yet. Instead, I drove to the jail for visitation. Chain link and buzzers framing our awkward reunion. He looked older, gaunt in orange, but eyes clearer. Mr. Cooking, he joked. Plastic tray of slop between us. Mystery meat. Beats my meatloaf? I managed a smile. Barely.
Pause.
Mom, clean 30 days. Lydia's bail hearing tanked. Feds got her on RICO. Conspiracy with developers. She's singing like Sinatra to shave time. He leaned in, voice low. Ethan's crashing with me when I get out. Becca's got the house. Alimony warpath. Pity stirred. Unbidden. You built this.
Dad.
All of you. I know. He traced the table scars. But you're the phoenix.
Kid.
Grandma was right. Tears welled. Forgive? Not yet. But understand. We're human. Flawed as that Chevy. I left with a nod. The visit stirring muddled waters.
Human. Flawed.
Excuses or explanations. The debate raged in my head, mirroring the online forums where strangers dissected our lives like lab rats. Ethan's mediation was next. A sterile conference room in downtown Detroit, fluorescents buzzing like doubts. Becca sat ramrod. Lawyer, a sharp-dressed Latina named Ruiz, flanking her. Ethan slouched. Ty askew. Our niece Emma doodling on his legal pad. Uncle Jack asleep on Becca's lap. The air smelled of stale coffee and simmering spite. Ruiz opened. My client seeks primary custody. Child support adjusted for Mr. Thompson's instability, per recent disclosures. She slid folders, the chat logs, Ethan's gambling statements, even a therapist's note on his enabling tendencies. Becca's eyes, cold blue, fixed on me. This started with you, Arya. Digging up graves. Our kids don't deserve the splash zone. Emma looked up, crayon pausing. Auntie, why's mommy mad? I knelt, heart twisting. Grown-up stuff. Bug. Remember our fort? Secrets are for pirates, not families. Ethan cleared his throat. Becca, I messed up. The chat. The money, stupid. But I'm in therapy. Clean 6 weeks. Joint custody. 50/50ths. For them. Ruiz countered. Unfit. The video shows a pattern, reckless choices endangering minors. The room tilted. Endangering? Ethan at 14. Passed out, that was mom's NyQuil. Dad's flask. But here, it pinned him. Becca's lip curled. You leaked it all. For what? Sibling rivalry over dead grandma's cash. No, Ethan snapped. First fire I'd seen. For truth. Tommy died saving us. And we lied. Arya forced the mirror. Hate her or not. She's right. Becca recoiled. Ruiz blustered. But the pivot landed. We broke for caucus, me and Ethan in the hall. Vending machine humming. Thanks, he muttered. For not piling on. Don't thank me yet. You spied. For Lydia. He sighed.
Yeah.
Thought it was harmless. Keep tabs on sis. Then it snowballed. When I saw her using it against you, I rebelled. Dumb way, but real. Brotherly bond tugged. Get clean. For real. Or lose them. He nodded.
Fierce.
I will. Back in. A compromise. Joint custody trial. Supervised visits. Ethan in rehab outpatient. Becca signed. Glaring daggers. This family's cursed. Stay away from my kids. Arya. They're my blood too, I said, voice steel. And blood doesn't lie, eventually.
Outside.
Rain slicked the streets, wipers slashing like accusations. Ethan hugged me, Emma's sticky fingers waving. Pirate fort soon? Soon, I promised. But as they drove off, Becca's Prius vanishing into traffic. Doubt not, was I protector or poison? Mom's rehab was in Lansing, a low-slung facility off I-96, fields golden under weak sun. I visited Sundays, the drive a meditation on mercy. She looked. Reborn. Hair pulled back. No pearls, just a simple cross necklace. Arya, my girl. Hugs fierce. Smelling of lavender soap. Not Chanel, no.
5.
We walked the grounds. Gravel crunching under Crocs. Group's brutal, she admitted. Facing the mirror, how I numbed the guilt. The crash. I drove the lies home. Told you it was your fault to keep you quiet. Mother of the Year. I stopped. Leaves swirling.
Why?
Mom, I was a kid.
Fear.
Simple. Shattering. Of losing you all. Dad in jail. Ethan labeled. Lydia suing for more. Eleanor, grandma, begged me to stop. But I couldn't. Tears fell. The forgeries? To get you help. or control the story. Same difference. Controversy brewed, victim or villainous. And the chat? Calling me unstable. She winced. Projection. I'm the unstable one. But, Arya. Forgive? Please. I want to be grandma to your kids someday.
Kids.
The word hung. A future I hadn't dared. Maybe. When you're out. She squeezed my hand. I'm proud. You burned the lies. Like she wanted. Driving back. Radio droning lion scores.
Catharsis crept.
But Lydia's shadow loomed, her trial prep making headlines. Heiress turned state's witness in fraud bust. Singing on Dad. On Ethan. Even Mom's collusion. Her flip ultimate. From aunt to informant. Trading family for freedom. I called Trina. She's testifying. Full circle.
Trina laughed.
Karma's a bitch with a law degree. You okay? Okay's relative.
Pause.
The video did right? Debate fodder. Honey. Some say hero. Some say grave robber. That's America, gray as the river. Portland's offer solidified. Senior designer. $85,000. Start January. I packed in fits, grandma's china wrapped in bubble. My phoenix tattoo itching like growth. But the night before leaving, the burner text, it's not over.
Lydia.
Out on technicality, prosecutor error. I checked locks. Bat ready. Sleep evaded. Dreams of hydroplaning. Screams blending moms. Ethan's.
Dad's.
Morning brought cops, not for me. But a tip, Lydia's car. Totaled off US 23. Single vehicle. Skid marks suggesting swerve. Flask and console. Prints hers. Irony or imitation. Suicide note vague. Truths too heavy. Forgive the poison. The family mourned privately, scattered ashes in Lake Michigan. No service. Ethan. She flipped one time too many.
Dad.
Out on work release. Karma. Mom. Rest. Sister.
Me?
Ambivalence. Villain redeemed? Or just broken? The will's money funded her estate. Ironic closure. As I loaded the U-Haul, Ethan helped. Sweat beading. Portland.
Huh?
West Coast Arya. Reboot. I hugged him. Visit. With the pirates. Promise. The drive west was epic, interstates unspooling like veins. Past rust belts to evergreens. Doubt faded with miles.
But the twist?
In a Boise rest stop. Voicemail from an unknown. Mom's voice.
Shaky.
Arya. Lydia's note. It mentioned you. Tell Arya the real secret. Tommy wasn't the hero. Call me. Heart stuttered. Another layer? I deleted it. Some truths better buried. Portland waited, rain. Reinvention. A life unthumbed. But in quiet moments, the debate, did revenge heal? Or just scar deeper? No answer. Just the road ahead. Pitted and promising. Portland greeted me with drizzle and dogwoods. The kind of gray that soothes rather than suffocates. My apartment in the Pearl District, loft with exposed brick. View of the Willamette. Felt like stolen luxury. Funded by the will's first wire transfer. $1.8 million. Minus taxes and Trina's consulting fee, left me flush but fidgety. The design firm, Pixel Forge, was a hive of millennials in hoodies. Brainstorming apps for eco-brands. My first pitch, a logo for a sustainable fishery. Waves morphing to hooks, landed a client cheer. Arya, you're a natural, my boss. Jen said, high-fiving over IPAs at Deschutes Brewery. Natural. The word chafed, echoing Mom's lies. But the East Coast ghosts followed, freighted on Wi-Fi. Ethan's texts, weekly updates. Custody wins, Emma drew you a bridge, Portland to Detroit. Rehab milestones, 90 days feels fake. Dad's letters. Post-release, working HVAC legit now. Sponsoring AA newbies. The cell taught humility.
Miss your fire. Kid. Mom.
Discharged, group home in Grand Rapids. Volunteering at a women's shelter. Healing's a marathon. Your turn to run free. I replied in bursts, emojis for Ethan. Cards for Dad. Calls for Mom. Forgiveness? Incremental. Like therapy sessions with Dr.
Rao.
A soft-spoken Indian woman who unpacked my Avenger archetype without judgment. Revenge closed the circle, she said one Tuesday. Rain pattering the therapy window. But joy opens new ones. What's calling?
Joy.
Elusive as sunbreaks. Dates flickered. A barista named Kyle. Tatted and tender. Ghosting after I dodged crash talk. A gallery opening, where a painter named Mia saw my Phoenix ink and shared her own scars. Bipolar. Family estrangement. Burned bridges, she said over Pinot. Best ash for new art. Lydia's death lingered. A controversial coda. Inquest ruled accident, BAC.15. No note foul play. But Mom's voicemail nod. Replayed in weak moments. Tommy wasn't the hero. What did it mean? I ignored it, burying under briefs and burritos. Until Christmas. Ethan flew out. Kids in tow, surprise assault on my loft. Suitcases stuffed with pierogies from Babsha's recipe, ironic. Post-grandma. Emma tackled me. Auntie, build fort. Jack toddled. Clutching a toy truck. Virum. Like Uncle Tommy, heart clenched. We erected a blanket bastion in the living room. Fairy lights twinkling. Takeout Thai steaming. Ethan cracked a NA ginger ale. Becca's civil. Co-parenting class grads. How's the rain life?
Wet.
Good. I glanced at the kids. Giggling over cartoons. Miss this chaos.
Nah.
You thrive solo. He paused. Serious. Mom called. About Lydia's note. Dread pooled. Delete worthy. Maybe.
But.
Tommy wasn't the hero. Rings bells. He pulled his phone. Audio clip. Mom's voice. Hesitant. Ethan. Honey. After the funeral, I found Lydia's journal and her things. Shipped from Florida. Entries about the crash.
Tommy.
He knew about Dad's drinking. Supplied the flask sometimes. To loosen up the old man. Not hero, just enabler. Lied to protect his own secrets. Secrets. Plural. Ethan met my eyes. Lydia wrote he had an affair with her. Pre-crash. That's why she divorced fast, guilt or greed. The hero narrative? Cover for all sins. Twist's knife twisted deeper. Tommy. Saint or sinner. Uncle. Mentor. Now adulterer? The pedestal crumbled. Dust in my throat. Why tell now? Mom's amends. Full disclosure. He shrugged. Changes nothing. Or everything. Your call. Emma crawled into my lap.
Sleepy.
Story. Auntie? The Phoenix one. I obliged. Voice steady. Once, a bird burned in Lie's fire. Rose from ash. Wings wide. Flew to new skies. Bedtime stories as therapy. Ethan crashed on the couch. Kids in my bed. Morning brought crepes and confessions. Does it hurt? He asked. Flipping batter. Like hell.
But human.
Flawed. He grinned. First real since the will. Thompson motto. Back east. Mom's call connected. Third try. Arya? Merry crisis. Laughter bubbled. Unexpected.
Ditto.
Heard the journal drop. Silence.
Then sigh.
Lydia hoarded hurts. Tommy. Complicated. Loved him. Flaws and all. Like us. Us. The word warmed. Come visit?
Spring.
Blossoms beat blizzards.
Deal.
Proud. Baby. You're the real hero.
Hero.
Debatable. But the mirror showed softer eyes. Scar faded to silver. Work ramped. Pixel Forge landed a contract with Nike. My designs on prototypes. Nights. Mia and I painted. Abstracts of crashes and rebirths. Sold at a pop-up for trauma art, proceeds to suicide prevention. Kyle resurfaced. Apologetic. Ghosted cause life's messy. Try again. We did, coffee turning to kayaks on the Columbia. His hand steady in mine. Your story, he said one dusk. Paddles dipping. Brave. Brutal, I corrected. But sharing lightened. The controversy peaked spring. Trina's book deal announced. Willed to destroy. A family's reckoning. Advance buzz. My character, anonymized but obvious. Protests. Exploits pain. Versus. Exposes enablers. I declined interviews, but penned a guest post for her blog. Revenge isn't justice, it's the spark. Forgiveness? The flame that warms, not burns. Readers argued in comments. Too soft. Nail the bastards. Healing's the real revenge. Polarized. As grandma intended. Dad visited summer. Solo. Amtrak ride. Flannel and flab softened. We toured Powell's books. His awe at the stacks childlike. Bigger than the library in Hamtramck. Dinner at screen door. Fried chicken. His first craft beer in sobriety. Tastes like second chances. Nervous? I asked. Passing biscuits. Terrified.
But
grateful. You didn't have to let me in. Blood, I said simply. Thicker than grudges. He teared up. Love you. Phoenix. Fall brought Mia's show, my Phoenix canvas centerpiece. Titled Scar Tissue. Sold to a collector in Seattle. Kyle proposed collab. Joint tattoo. His on bicep, a wave cradling flames. Intertwined, he inked. But the final twist whispered autumn. Package from Grand Rapids. Mom's return. Inside. Lydia's journal. Dog-eared. Passages underlined. Last entry. Arya knows too much. Or not enough. Tommy's secret? The flask was for her. Future heir. To toughen the bloodline. Like Daniel. Cycle unbroken. Unless she breaks it. Horror chilled. Groomed? For what? Legacy of lies. I burned it in the loft's tiny fireplace. Ashes to wind. Cycle ends here. Thanksgiving. Full table, Ethan. Becca, tentative truce. Kids, Mom. Radiant, Dad. Carving turkey, Kyle. Charming, Mia.
toasting.
To fractures mended. Glasses clinked. Debates flowed, not accusations, but philosophies. Nature versus nurture. Revenge versus redemption. No consensus, just connection. As snow dusted the bridges, I realized the will wasn't money. It was permission to choose. Happy? Tragic? Both. In the American dream's gray glory. The chat's ghost? Deleted. Family first now. Redefined. Winter wrapped Portland in hoarfrost. The Willamette a silver ribbon under holiday lights. My life. Once a demolition derby. Hum now, a steady engine of deadlines and dinners. Kyle's laugh echoing in the loft. Mia's texts plotting next canvas. Pixel Forge promoted me to lead designer. My authentic edge, Jen's words, sealing the Nike deal. Paycheck direct deposited. Therapy copay negligible. Freedom tasted like voodoo donut at midnight. Maple bacon crumbling sweet. But roots tug. Even transplanted. Christmas redux, eastbound flight. Kids chorus of Aunt Aria at DTW. Ethan's house, Becca's domain now. Neutral ground, decked in neutrals. Tree twinkling sans tinsel fights. Dad arrived sober, bearing pie from his AA buddy's bakery. Mom, from Grand Rapids, necklace gleaming. No Lydia's shadow, her trial wrapped, 10 years federal. Cooperation shaving half. Justice? Debatable. Her last flip, testimony torching the fraud ring, but sparing family names where possible. Snake to the end. Dinner was a minefield navigated with grace. Talk of Emma's ballet. Jack's trucks. My fancy promo. Dad raised glass, seltzer, to Eleanor's will. Best curse ever. Laughter rippled. Genuine. Mom squeezed my knee under table. Broke the cycle. Kid. Post-feast. Ethan pulled me aside. Back deck strung with Edisons. Snow flurried. City lights blurring. Therapy breakthrough, he said. Breath fogging. Admitted I envied you, the fire. Always did. Golden boy. Gilded cage. Flips both ways, I replied. You leaked first. Spark. He nodded. Becca knows now. Forgave, mostly. Co-therapy? Who knew? Inside. Carols crooned. Kids staged a nativity with trucks as camels. Kyle FaceTimed from Portland. Missed the chaos. Save me pie. Always. Heartful. A novel ache. New Year's. Back west. Kyle and I hiked Multnomah Falls. Ice-crusted cascades thundering. At the bridge. Spray misting. He dropped to knee, not ring. But question. Build this? Us. Tears mixed with melt. Yes. Wings and waves. Spring bloomed scandals elsewhere. Trina's book launch. Detroit signing mobbed. I Skyped in. Toast. Truth's the real bestseller. Reviews split. Gripping gut punch versus sensationalist schlock. Polarizer perfected. Mom visited May. Train to Union Station. We wandered Waterfront Park. Cherry blossoms shedding pink confetti. Journal haunted me, she confessed. Iced lattes sweating. Tommy's affair, Lydia's too. But the flask for you? Myth. Her paranoia. Projecting. Relief washed. Why write it? Drama. Always her vice. We laughed. Linking arms. You're free. Are ya? Truly. Summer solstice. Family converged, Ethan's crew. Dad's solo. Mom nesting. Barbecue on my balcony. Grills smoking salmon. Kids splashing kiddie pool. Dad man tongs. Stories flowing. Remember Grandma's Cadillac races on 8 Mile?
Nods.
Nostalgia sand sting. Evening. Stars pricking. Ethan pulled beers and nay for him. Debate time. Revenge worth it? Circle opined. Becca. Cost too much. Almost lost my marriage. Mom. Necessary purge. Dad. Bought clarity. At bankruptcy price. Kyle. Sparked your strength.
Me?
Divided us to unite. No winners. Just survivors. Jack toddled over. Anti-win. Laughter sealed it. No right. No wrong, just forward. Fall harvest. Mia's wedding. Me maid of honor in sage silk. Vows exchanged under oaks. In flaws. We flourish. My toast. To twists that teach.
Kyle and I.
Ring now, simple bands. Engraved rise together. Planned elopement. Vegas kitsch. Then Cascades cabin. No drama, he joked. Unless you hack my phone. Promise. The ultimate twist? October package. Unmarked. Postmark Florida. Inside. Pearl necklace. Grandma's. Note in Lydia's script forged. Wear it. Break nothing. Enclosed. Flash drive audio. Tommy's voice. Pre-crash call to Lydia. Dan's spiraling. Flasks a bad idea.
But.
Family's family. Protect Arya. She's the future. Not villainy, but vigilance. Cycle not groomed, but guarded. Tears fell. I strung the pearls. Cool against skin. Thanksgiving redux. Full circle. Table groaning. Stories looping. Dad proposed toast. To secret spilled. Scars shared. Glasses lifted. Debate dissolved into dessert. Pumpkin pie. Debates deferred. As snow teased again. I stood on the balcony. Kyle's arm warm. City twinkling. The will? Long spent. House sold. Donations done. Nest egg nurturing dreams. Studio for art therapy. Non-profit for crash victims' kids. Right the wrongs. Happy? Tragic? Reader's choice. But in this American tapestry, betrayals stitched to bonds, the phoenix flies on. Unburdened. Unchained. The end? Or just the hook for what's next?